Hi there. This is David Weiss, your board game concierge here at 401 Games, and undoubtedly the first thing you notice is that my wall of games is missing and things look and sound a little bit different. That's because for the time being I have moved back to my childhood home to look after my mom while this second wave of COVID works its way through our system like a bad takeout order. But hey, we're resilient, we're adaptive, and we're still gaming, so Smorgasboard is still a thing. And this week's Smorgasboard, as you can see, is the newest in the Tiny Epic series from Gamelyn Games Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, designed, as they all have been, by Scott Almays. Now, I'm a big fan of the series. I really admire how each one is a tribute to both a genre and at least one basic mechanic, and the production values are great, even in the retail version, and there's always a solo mode. That being said, I think that some are more successful than others in hitting the mark, and I actually didn't back this one on Kickstarter because dino ranching doesn't really float my boat, and so this is the retail version we'll be looking at, not the Kickstarter version. Now, let's look inside the box and see whether Tiny Epic Dinosaurs is the game for you. So, as I said before, Tiny Epic Dinos is a worker placement game about dinosaur ranching with a minor in pick up and deliver. Each player gets a unique ranch mat, where they're going to put their dinos. They get some regular ranchers, and they get one head rancher, a big one, although they're all pretty tiny, obviously, because this is Tiny Epic. And you also get your player mat with your holding areas and the by now standard Tiny Epic resource track, where you're going to keep track of your resources. And you get dealt 2 private contracts at the beginning, of which you will keep 1. And so this sort of gives you stuff to shoot for later in the game. So all the action really in the game takes place on these action mats, which are 2-sided, which is really cool because that they can they're scaled for the number of players. So this side is for the 3 or 4 players. This side is for 1 or 2 players, and they all scale a little bit differently. It's a great system, although they tend to slide around a bit. So that's a bit of a kind of a pain, but it's not a big deal. The game plays out over 6 rounds. And each round is made up of 7 phases. So first you're going to collect your resources from all unoccupied spaces in your ranch. So once you put a dino down, it's going to take up whatever resource happens to be there while it's living there. Then the players are going to take turns placing workers on actions to do various things with your ranch. Then everyone retrieves their ranchers, either from the action board or from medical leave, because they can get hurt. And then you must place all the dinos and barriers or fences that you have collected during the round, and you must place them on here, and you can't rearrange anything once it's placed. Then you have to feed your dinos, depending on whether they are herbivorous, carnivorous, or omnivorous. So depending on the color, yellow dinosaurs are herbivorous, green are carnivorous, and so on. These dinosaurs are extra big, so they need more food, and if you don't feed them, then they escape. So, and escaping herbivores knock down barriers, and escaping carnivores eat your other dinosaurs. So you don't want to let them escape if you possibly can. After that, They're tired, but they want to still make babies. So you're going to breed dinosaurs. For each two of the same one, you get another one, which immediately must be placed, or else it escapes. And then you have your housekeeping for the next round. You do that for 6 rounds, and then this flips over and shows you how the final scoring works. You're going to get points for fulfilled contracts, you're going to get points for research cards, and you're going to get points for leftover dinosaurs. So there's a couple of wrinkles in the action selection, nothing huge. One is that some spots require you to have a resource to spend in order to place there, such as here or here. Another is that you are allowed to place in an occupied spot, but you have to spend more workers to do that. And a head rancher counts as 2. So you have to spend an extra worker or an extra rancher for every rancher that was placed by the last person to place there. So for an empty spot, you place 1 rancher. The next person has to place 2, the next person 3, and so on. And finally, the action where you collect the free-range dinos involves a little bit of chance. You're always going to get a dino, but then you have to roll the Wrangler die. So 2 times out of 6, you immediately have to send your rancher and dino on medical leave, which isn't horrible. You don't lose them permanently. You can't use them for the rest of the round, which is more important as far as the dino is concerned, actually. Sometimes half the time there's no additional effect, and 1 time out of 6 you get a baby. So you get an additional dino, which can be a mixed blessing depending on how much space you have. But all collected dinos go to your holding area at first, so you do have some time to sort of prepare for them. So your points, as I said, come from contracts, research, and leftover dinos. Now you start with a private contract, but you can't actually fulfill that until you fulfill a regular public contract, which you get by placing on an action. And public contracts, all contracts actually just require you to spend dinos from your ranch, not your holding area, but your ranch. These purple ones just mean any purple dinosaur, which I'll talk about in a sec. And you get this number of points. They can't be stolen. On a turn where you fulfill a public contract, you can also fulfill your private contract. So that requires a fair bit of planning. As for research, each research card has built-in points, and then some of them, like this one, are individual dinosaurs, and the meeples for them are unique as well. So you could get a T-Rex, but a T-Rex costs 3 meat to feed. But all the purple dinos have very cool special abilities, although most of them don't breed. Then there's other ones which just give you ongoing actions during the game, and it very helpfully tells you which phase that... Oh, come on, focus. Come on. This one tells you in phase 5, you can discard this card to feed all of your dinosaurs. And then other ones will give you a variable number of victory points at the end of the game, depending on the conditions you fulfill. So, the solo mode is really interesting and challenging because each player mat flips over to become a unique opponent with different priorities. And so the scientists, for example, they're going to be grabbing a lot of science and technology. And the way they place their workers during the game depends on this little deck. So when they're only going to place 4 on a turn, although after turn 4, they're going to place an extra one. And whichever mat they place on becomes occupied as far as you're concerned, and either will give them dinos or will perform a dino-specific action depending on how many of that dino they've already got. And the more dinos they have, the more powerful the action. So it's really it's random but challenging, and sort of you can anticipate, but you can't completely anticipate. And that's the kind of AI that I like. So I really like the solo mode for Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. So, is Tiny Epic Dinosaurs the game for you? Well, Gamelyn has done its usual solid job. It's not up there for me with the best in the series, which in my opinion are Tiny Epic Quest and Tiny Epic Galaxies, but it's there in the second rank, I think. In terms of packing a punch for its size and cost, it's definitely a worthy member of the series. And if you do love dinos and are into the whole Jurassic World Dinosaur Island kind of vibe on a compact scale, or you just really like worker placement games, or you're looking for a good introductory worker placement game to teach someone, or you have a niece or a nephew or a child or a grandchild who loves dinosaurs, then you should really check this out. So, if you're interested, click on the link below to order your copy of Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. This is David Weiss, your board game concierge here at 401 Games. Thanks for watching. Happy Thanksgiving to our Canadian viewers. See you next time. Ciao.